AJ, does that mean that if I'm really desiring truth, that it will enter my soul instantaneously when it's delivered?
Yes. Yes. Now, of course, the probability of that occurring while we have so many emotions of error to release, and this is where there is a symbiotic relationship between truth and humility, is highly unlikely if we have no humility that truth can enter us under any circumstance. We have to be open to its entering us. So, and the only way we can be open for truth to enter us is to have error leave us at the same time that truth enters us. And that is an emotional process. The error leaving us has to leave with an emotion, and therefore the truth can enter us at that moment. So if we were always open to feeling our own emotions, being humble, can you see we would also probably be very open to receiving truth. And once we receive the truth wouldn't be just an intellectual thought, something that we could intellectually and logically digest, but rather it will enter us as an emotional condition inside of our soul. The truth will enter us as an emotional condition inside of our soul. Can I illustrate how this occurs with some of the addictions that we might face? Many of you have said to me or have said to others that you're passionately on the divine love path, which let's call it, we're passionately on the way to God, to our relationship with God. And at the same time, you are aware of physical addictions that you retain and enjoy retaining. So, for example, some of you, the physical addiction might be like cigarette smoking, for example. And I'll give that as an example. Please understand, for those of you who are still smoking, I'm not picking on you specifically, just using an example. So let's say I'm passionately longing and desiring God's truth in this matter, and I am smoking, and I realise intellectually, again, it must be only an intellectual realisation because I'm still smoking, I realise that smoking is bad for my body and it demonstrates a lack of self-love because I'm harming my body with something that if I didn't have it, my body may live a lot longer. And in fact, there seems to be, and definitely is documentary evidence at this point, that your body might live 10 to 20 years longer by not smoking compared to smoking. So I know there's some issue of love involved. Now, if I am having a longing desire for God's truth on that matter, I would realise that the addiction prevents a lot of things from happening. While I'm engaging the addiction, I am never going to have a love of myself. Can you see that? I'm engaging the addiction because I'm masking or covering over a feeling that I don't love myself. And it's as a result of that, and it's evident because I'm slowly committing suicide, really, by smoking. That's what I'm doing. I'm slowly committing suicide. I'm reducing my life expectancy. And so therefore, I must at some level intellectually be aware that this habit or addiction is not good for me. But I continue doing it. And that tells me that I'm yet to have the truth enter my soul. Because if the truth had entered my soul, I would instantly be unable to smoke one more cigarette. Because of the love issue that it confronts if I do. Because I would be out of harmony with love if I did. So what we need to do is understand that our addictions while we feed them, we are actually denying truth from entering our soul. Now, I'm not just talking about physical addictions here. I'm talking about the addiction that many of you ladies have, for example, that you want a man who you can control and manipulate. That addiction. And I'm talking about, for many of the men here, the addiction you have to give to a woman so that you get from them sexually, that addiction. And I'm talking about the addictions we all have generally to not say the truth in what we call delicate situations. That addiction. All of those addictions are addictions that we are feeding. Now, I put to you that while you continue to feed your own addictions, whether they be spiritual, emotional or physical in nature, you are not opening your soul to truth. You're not letting the truth enter you, because the layer of addiction is the error that we were staying in and want to stay in still. And since that's not entering us anymore, what is happening is that we have no openness to divine love coming into our soul and transforming our soul. We have no hope to change. You see, a lot of times we create our own hopelessness by the actions we take. Can you see that? So in other words, we are feeding our addictions frequently, and because we feed the addiction rather than confronting the addiction, which would be the truthful thing to do, we feed it and it becomes the thing that guides our life now. We are under its control, but unfortunately, because we're under its control, there is no prospect for change. And yet when somebody comes along and tells us, oh, you have this addiction, this emotional addiction, no, I don't. It's like the smoker, while he's having a cigarette, somebody comes along, you're still smoking. No, I'm not. One thing I like about physical addictions is this. At least you can see that you have them. With emotional addictions, you know what happens? Most of the time, we deny their very existence. So we can't see we have them. And the problem with that is if we don't acknowledge the truth of anything, then love cannot flow. We're using our will to block the flow of love.